Welcome. In the animal agricultural industry, there's a lot of talk about sustainability. At Texas Tech, in the Animal and Food Sciences Department, a grant from the USDA is allowing research on a hypothesis that would increase beef marbling without increasing overall fat in cattle. In this week's Ag Journal, we break down the biology to see how this theory works.
If you enjoy a juicy, flavorful steak, then you probably lean towards the ribeye because it has the most abundant marbling. Marbling refers to the streaks of fat within the lean section of the meat that resemble a marble pattern.
The last fat to be developed is called intramuscular adipose tissue, which is marbling. But because it's the last developing fat, we tend to have to overfeed animals in the feedlot, and they put a lot of seam fat and a lot of back fat on before we get to the opportunity of depositing marbling.
USDA beef grades include Prime, Choice, and Select, which are based on marbling scores. Prime grade is the highest quality and is traditionally sold to hotels and restaurants.
Our hypothesis is that we think we can alter marbling adipocytes, the little fat cells that make up marbling. We can alter those so they actually fill with lipids faster and quicker in the feeding period, and that would allow us to maybe harvest cattle at less days on feed, which would have positive impacts on feed efficiency and also the cost of gain at the feedlot level.
Less days on feed would conserve resources, making beef production more sustainable.
There's a huge push recently for cultured meat, where we basically make steak very similar to my setting here in a cell culture environment. So when we talk about sustainability for normal beef production, what I call conventional beef, the way we've been doing it in the United States since the 1950s, cattle will be very efficient but also deposit this marbling, which will be very beneficial from a quality standpoint, but also very beneficial from a human health perspective.
The health perspective and key to increase marbling is oleic acid.
Oleic acid has been shown to be very positive from a human health standpoint as far as preventing cardiovascular disease and other ailments in humans. In fact, the most abundant fatty acid in beef is oleic acid.
GPR43 stands for G-coupled protein receptor and is highly abundant in the intermuscular tissue where you want marbling, but this receptor is not present in other tissues that store fat. The ligand or molecule that would increase marbling would be oleic acid.
In biology, whenever you see differences in receptor numbers, you have an opportunity to exploit that, so to speak, or manipulate that. So we're trying to find natural ligands that, when bound to this GPR43, actually causes the marbling cell to be bigger and grow bigger, and so we would actually store more marbling in that muscle, say the ribeye of cattle.
The current federal grant from the USDA is a 5-year grant, which allows the university time to work on the objectives.
So I always try to just be one step removed from commercial beef feedlot production and really try to do research that it's still maybe 5 or 10 or even 20 years down the road, but it has some application to helping the U.S. beef industry.
Brandon Waits, KLBK News.